Council meeting of the Williston City Council. It is Tuesday, August the 2nd. It is 6 p.m. And at this time, I would ask the city clerk to please call the roll.
Mayor Goodman, he's absent. Council President Jones.
Here.
Vice President Robinson.
Here.
Councilmember Cox.
Here.
Councilmember Bullock.
Here.
Councilmember Ross.
Here.
City Manager Jackie Gorman.
Here.
City Attorney Scott Walker.
Here.
Deputy City Manager Dina Nelson.
Here.
City Clerk Latricia Wright here, and all other staff.
Here.
Here.
Thank you for joining us. At this time, we're going to stand for the opening prayer to be led by Mr. Ross, and then the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for being allowed to visit here and to discuss the problems and laws and ordinances of the city of Williston. We ask for all kinds of blessing, but we certainly want to thank you for all those you have already given us, whether we may know about it or not. We thank you for those who are in charge of our police and for our firemen and for all of our administrative people. We thank you for our council here to guide us tonight as we may need it. For all these things, we give thanks, Lord, and just look forward to helping and be serving you. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. At this time, item 1 is the additions, deletions, changes, or approval of the agenda. We have no changes. I'm going to entertain a motion for approval as it stands.
I move that we approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion from anyone? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 2 is an award presentation for humanitarian action by Mr. Hunter LaRoche of Myrie Motors. And Mayor Goodman was to do this, but he is not here tonight, so we're going to ask Detective Oren and Brooke, are you coming or just taking pictures? Okay, you're on.
Good evening. As Councilwoman Jones was telling you, I'm Detective Consort at the Williston Police Department. This evening, I have the pleasure of presenting a certificate of appreciation to Hunter LaRoche. On June 14th, Williston Fire, Williston Police Department were dispatched to Main Street, and the way the call came out was a truck was on fire. As I was coming down the road, responding to the location, I saw billows of smoke coming up on North Main Street. When I arrived, I saw Hunter standing by the truck with the owner of the truck, Troy Sparks, and Mr. Sparks explained to me that his brakes on his vehicle malfunctioned, locked up, caused a fire. He said he stopped, he got out, he has a fire extinguisher on board, he exhausted it, and he still had a fire. He said about that time, he turned and he saw Hunter, and Hunter was running from across the street. Myrie Motors is right on the east side of the street across from where the truck was on fire. He came over, he used the extinguisher, and he put the fire out. A couple minutes later, Chief Lamar's men showed up on scene, and as a precautionary measure, they inspected it. I think they put a little bit more water on it. But I spoke to Mr. Sparks, and I believe that later on he actually called Chief Rolls, and he expressed how happy he was, and he was very appreciative that Hunter, I've heard in this room said before, I think that Chief Stroh used to say it, and I think I've heard Chief Rolls say it. If you see something, say something. Mm-hmm. Well, Hunter didn't just see something and say something. He saw something, he did something. Mm-hmm. He was over there working, saw the man's truck on fire, grabbed the extinguisher that Drew had for his employees there at Myrie Motors, ran over across the street, and he did something. And there's no doubt in my mind that Hunter's quick actions and getting involved with the fire extinguisher, saved a lot more damage that could have occurred. Mr. Sparks explained that he's an owner-operator. He doesn't drive for a big company. He owns his own rig. And so Hunter saved him a bunch of money and saved his rig. Hunter, thank you very much for what you did.
Thank you, sir. You are to be commended. We appreciate it. We love the good news.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item number 3 is public participation, and this is something that is not on our agenda that you would like to speak to the council about at this time. You have up to 5 minutes. There is another opportunity at the end of the meeting. Not seeing anyone at this time, we will move forward. Nobody online, Mr. Mills?
Nope.
Okay. We will move to item number 4, which is the consent agenda, which consists of the council meeting minutes of July the 19th. We would entertain a motion for approval or correction, whichever you prefer. Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate you taking your time to come.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion from anyone? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 5 is old business, and we will start with the staff, board, our council member updates, and we will begin with City Manager Gorman.
Good evening, Council. I do not have anything except to remind Council that we need to set another date for a budget workshop this month. Other than that, that's all. I don't have anything else.
Okay, I understand that Mr. Bloom's father's funeral is tomorrow. So after that, if you can get with him maybe later in the week or the first of next week and find a date that's good for him, because we do need him here. And then just let us know. Okay, are there any days that are bad for sure? I mean, like a Tuesday or a Monday, these particular days that are bad, that you know are always bad?
Tuesdays are good.
Yeah, on the 22nd, I got a booster meeting, and on the 11th, I got
What day of the week are those?
That's a Monday.
Monday.
On the 11th, I got a Levy County Tourism Board meeting, which is a Thursday.
So how does the 13th and 20th look? The
I think
13th and
13th is a
27th.
Saturday.
Yeah, those are Saturdays.
They are.
Yes.
Good August.
I'm
I
looking
would
at
I
September.
prefer not to do that on a Saturday.
We're looking at August. Okay, sorry. All right, so the 23rd?
Of August?
Of August.
We already have a budget
We
meeting
already
on
have a
that
budget
day.
workshop.
So we got to do it before then.
Right.
15th, 17th, or 18th.
I'm good with the
We got a
18th.
meeting on the 16th already.
Everybody, yeah, right. How about the 18th? Okay, so if you'll check the 18th with him, that looks, how about our department heads? The 18th looking reasonable back there. Okay, so let's go for the 18th, see if he's available. Okay, thank you. Anything else, Ms. Gore?
No, that's all. Thank you.
All right. Any other staff member have anything at this time? Yes, Ms. Nelson.
I do. I'm planning for our benefits open enrollment for September. So if everybody can look for information, I'll be emailing that out just to communicate the information to everybody.
Perfect. Do you have any prices yet?
I do have prices. I've sent that out for our United Healthcare benefit. It did increase some. And so I have already sent that over to Stephen, and so I can let you guys know what that looks like. I can forward it.
I know he had an increase in the budget. I just didn't know if that was a firm number.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. Any other council member have an announcement at this time or an update?
I do.
Go for it.
I will. For those of you who were not here last week for the budget workshop, of 4.5 hours of fun-filled night. I would like to say, and I've already sent messages to some of the department heads, how wonderful it was this year for them to all work with other department heads. It was very nice. They were cheering on other department heads and giving ideas, and I appreciated it. Thank you very much, and come for the next budget meeting. You'll hear the same thing.
Yeah, it was really nice. Any other council member at this time? Okay, we're going to move to item number 6, which is new business, with discussion and possible action, review of the City of Williston audit for fiscal year 2020-2021. Purpose and Gray, Ms. Painter.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you joining us tonight.
Helen Pager, Purvis Grain Company. I do have a slide presentation about the audit. I think Patricia's getting it. The only thing is I can't see it from this angle.
If you need to move it, just slide it over. If you need some help, Wayne can help you move the podium.
Okay.
If you'd like to pull that over so that you can see it,
Yeah.
either direction, whichever you prefer.
Probably just if we could pull it back.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
This is perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So this is the results of the annual financial audit. And I'm sorry to hear the news of Mr. Bloom's father passing. And of course, we've worked with Mark for many years, and we appreciate their business, and we appreciate the work that they do for the City of Williston. Halfway through the audit, the point person, Jen here, had left, and that put a little bit of a time delay on the audit as he was trying. So he ended up having to do all the work for the audit, and we finally got it done. And so I want to thank Stephen for all the work involved. So the purpose of an audit, all local governments in the state of Florida are required to have an annual financial audit. And we're supposed to also present it to the City Council for acceptance. So this is as of the year ending September 30th, 2021. Next slide, please. So I am the audit partner on the engagement, and you also have a senior manager, Katie Eno, that performed most of the audit, plus 3 other auditors. Our firm specializes in audits of local governments, and in particular those local governments that have electric utility funds, of which the City of Williston has, which is very unique, but it also helps the city quite a bit. Next slide. So a financial audit is not an operational audit. It is focused only on the financial aspects of the city. So each year, right now you're going through the budget process, and we look at the actual numbers that occur. And in particular, when you have a budget, all local governments are not allowed to exceed their budgeted expenditures. So management has to monitor that, but that's the type of control in place so that you can ensure the citizens that what you all approve as a budget, that you do not spend more than that. So that's very important, and we had no issues of overspending a budget. What we do is we issue an opinion on the financial statements after we've performed an audit, and you all received an unmodified opinion, which is the highest level of opinion that you can obtain, a clean opinion, which is good. We also look at your internal controls over financial reporting to make sure that you have separation of duties, that you've got more than one person that's looking at the transactions and approving them, making the proper deposits. This year you also have what we call a federal single audit, where you received over $750,000 in federal grant expenditures, so we have to take it a step further to make sure that you spent those funds in accordance with the grant contract, and we had no issues with that. Next slide. So some of the things that we do in performing an audit is we take samples of transactions to make sure that they are properly performed, that the correct amount is paid on an invoice, that it's charged to the right fund. We take a sample of your utility bills and make sure that the published rates are being charged properly to the citizens. So that's very important, to make sure that you're getting charged the proper rate. And we do find errors in the past, but we did not find any. with the city. We also look at payroll to make sure that everyone is getting paid their approved pay rate for the correct amount of hours that they worked. So we look at that also, and we found no exceptions with that. So we do just take a sample of that. We also look at your internal controls over IT, and we interviewed Aaron, your IT personnel that's new this year, or for this past year. And so now you have a person in-house, and we have recommended in a verbal comment that all his procedures and how the city is set up to protect the city from accessing information. You know, you've read a lot about cybersecurity. You want to make sure that all the city's data is properly secured. We would also need to let you know if there was any problems with the audit, or if there was any material weaknesses that we came across. And we were fortunate enough to tell you that there were no material issues that we found. I'm skipping ahead a few pages because I wanted to discuss some significant events and financial highlights. So there's the heading for that. So a couple of the items, let's see, I think you have to go down a few more. Auditor reports. Next one. Next one. There we go. A couple of the items that we noted is that your building department, we tested some of the building permit fees that were charged to customers, and there were some very small immaterial differences, and we've asked management to look at how the software is calculating the building permit fees. We also noted that the building department, although it's small, that it has been operating at a loss recently, so you may want to look at how the fees are charged and the costs are allocated to that department. Also, we audit, and there's a separate audit of the CRA, and we've got a comment in there that it's required now by the state that when you pass the budget for the CRA, that you have to submit that to the county within 10 days. We've also recommended that the city develop a procurement policy that's in guidelines with the federal government contracts. Overall, the city's financial position in all of its funds showed that the revenues exceeded the expenditures, which we had recommended in the past that you were showing losses each year and starting to eat into the reserve, so to speak. And this year, management did a very good job cutting back on costs, and that was able to put some aside in reserves. And in keeping in mind, just inflation is here, and you're going to see a lot of increases in the cost everywhere, especially with your purchase power costs. I know that you've had representatives from FMPA come, so it's very important that all of the fees that are being charged, that you take into mind that there's increase in cost everywhere. It's unfortunate you have to pass them down to the citizens, but there's nowhere else for the funds to come from, so you have to charge at least what it costs you, but you need to have more for future capital expenditures. So keeping that in mind. And finally, you also have some pension funds, and all of the pension funds are doing very well. Also keeping in mind that since September 30th, that our stock market has declined somewhat with the economy, and so you may not have as good as results this coming year, but as of September 30th, they all performed well, and that all of the pension funds that support your employees are performing well. So those are the financial highlights. We would have to bring to your attention if there was a lot of correction we had to make, if there was any disagreements or difficulties, and we're happy to say that there were none. So that concludes my audit presentation, and the audit report is in your board package, and I've left some bound copies here.
Perfect.
And be happy to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Any questions from Ms. Painter? You made something very complicated sound really easy.
Good.
Yeah, we like that. We like that. I can tell you it took me way longer to read it than it did for you to tell me all about it.
I wanted to hit the highlights.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So no specific questions. Okay, so I did hear you say that we need to accept the audit as presented. Is that the correct verbiage?
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
So a motion for approval of the audit from the fiscal year 2020-2021 as presented.
I move that we approve the audit as presented.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
You're so wonderful. Thank you very much. All right, we have a motion and we have a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right, item number 6B, Resolution 2022-49, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, approving the amendment of the State of Florida Department of Transportation Public Transportation Grant Agreement for financial project number 44250519423 regarding the Williston Municipal Airport Aviation Terminal Building, authorizing appropriate parties to sign any documents required to execute such amendment on behalf of the City of Williston and providing an effective date. Mr. Stiegel.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the council. This is an amendment for a PTGA for the FDOT for a grant that has already been approved. The initial phase of this grant has already been completed for the most part. There's a little bit of planning still yet to be done. But what this amendment does is it puts the rest of the money that the state allocates for the project into that bucket. Which, if you look at the actual dollars and cents of it, it's a pretty substantial number.
Yes.
It's a little over $2 million. From about $80,000 in the bucket to 2.2 total. So it's a pretty good number. But long story short, that's what this amendment is to take the money that was allocated and put it into this PTGA.
Okay. If you will, just very quickly remind everybody what you're going to build, what you'd like to build, what this grant will build, and where you're going to situate it.
Sure. Yeah, that's kind of important. The Williston Airport is being granted a brand new terminal building, and it's 100% paid for. Since we're a Ready County, typically FDOT grants are a 90% with a 10% match. But since we're a Ready County, it's a 100% funded grant that is going to pay for this entire building, and it's going to go right next to our existing terminal building, basically in between our existing terminal building and the Piper Cup. So right where, if you've been out to the airport, right where that bend is, in the asphalt leading up to our parking lot, that's where the building's going to go. And then they're going to redevelop a lot of the parking structure in that general area. Any questions?
And then what is the plan for the old one, just so everybody will know?
Absolutely. The plan for the old building is to lease a lot of the rooms out, or rent a lot of the rooms out for different people here and there. We've got interest from a flight school. We've got interest from a aviation medical doctor that wants to come in and put an office out there. So we've got pretty much all of the office space already verbally committed to. We haven't signed anything on paper yet. So, but that's the intent, is to rent out the office space.
We put the picture up there if you want to make some sense out of it for the. Does that help? Will that help you with anything?
Not particularly. That was what Miss Donna had, our FDOT rep. That was what she had initially.
And it's been moved, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's why I wanted you to say that, because
Right.
it's not right on this picture.
No, it is not.
Yeah.
So when we actually went through and looked at our master plan, that lovely document that we paid so much money for, we found that it had a place other than these two spots. So we were conducting the building of this in accordance with the airport's master plan that was posted in 2018. So if you look at it, it's if you look to that thicker gray area to the right,
Up at the very top on the
Yeah,
left.
very top, there's a gray area.
Oh, yeah, that one right there.
So if you go just to the right of that, there is a small grassy area right there. That's where the new building's going.
Okay, any questions, for Mr. Stiegel? From anyone? Okay. This again is resolution 2022-49. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I make a motion that we approve resolution 2022-49.
I second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from anyone? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. And the next one's not yours, so we appreciate it. Resolution 2022-50, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, approving the amendment to the solid waste franchise agreement for waste hauling services between the City of Williston, Florida and GFL Solid Waste Southeast LLC, authorizing appropriate parties to sign any documents required to execute such amendment on behalf of the City of Williston and providing an effective date. Mr. McCall. Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
President,
Yes,
council
sir.
members. For the record, Skip McCall with GFL Environmental. So last month, we presented to the council a request to have a temporary fuel surcharge adjustment in light of all the recent inflation and, of course, the fuel cost as it is today compared to what it was 12 months ago. So the direction was to move forward with that request and to work with Mr. Scott, Mr. Scott Walker's office to draft up an amendment. We have done such, and you probably won't see that tonight in your packet. And so again, just here for looking for support to help again with a little bit of temporary fuel relief as we're going through these $5 plus gallon fuel right now. So be happy to answer any questions and would appreciate the support.
Okay, the bulk of the agreement and all the costs that you probably would like to look at on page 116 of your packet, where it talks about how the temporary rate increase for fuel costs, how they will go up and down based on the price of the fuel.
Section 10.
Yes, ma'am. In case anybody has a specific question on that. I guess my one question is, are your trucks using diesel or are they using natural gas?
So we use a combination of both.
Okay.
Yep. And in the original letter, we had in there the per therm for CNG had actually doubled since a year ago. So it's actually, that was more of a significant impact over really the diesel fuel, to be honest with you. And but yeah, it's a combination of both.
Okay. Depending on which truck you're driving that day.
Correct.
Okay. All right, any questions?
So did you ever figure out the average, what it will be per household?
It's about $1.19 per home.
And that's a month, $1.19 per home per month. And then did you fix the paperwork to where it don't state that it can get reduced until it hits back to that minimum number?
Yeah, so that's what we provided, the calculation. Basically, it's like that sliding scale that we discussed. So when fuel drops down, I think it starts at the 390 mark.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll incrementally decrease the
So you're gonna
rate.
put it on a fuel rate, a national
Correct.
average, or is it a
The lower
local
Atlantic.
average?
Yeah, the lower Atlantic.
And then, does it say anywhere in the new agreement what, when we can stop it? Are we allowed to stop it whenever we would like to stop it?
I think that maybe Mr. Walker has give you some recommendations. I mean, as far as stopping anything with regards to the contract, and you may want to get it legal.
Well, not with a contract, I'm just, the contract's the contract, but is this a new contract that we'll be signing moving forward?
No, this is just the
Okay.
an amendment to the existing solid waste contract.
So then basically, we as a council could say, okay, we think fuel's come back down, we're ready to go back to how it was at any time we choose to.
That's what I got.
It says evaluated on a semi-annual basis.
Correct.
Thank you for that, I missed that too.
Mm-hmm.
What section is that in, Ms.
That's
Gorman?
10, that's number 2. So section 10, the aforementioned 10% increase.
Okay,
shall
so
be
it's in the
evaluated.
same-
See it?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
With rate adjustments being effectuated should the fuel cost drop below the base fuel rate.
I do see that.
So basically, January and July of each year, we'll go back and we'll look at it and see if that adjustment needs to be provided.
Okay. Any further questions? Mr. Johnson?
You said residential, how does it affect businesses?
So it'd be the same, so it's basically a 10% adjustment as well, for like your commercial dumpsters.
Okay.
Any other questions from anyone? Okay, if the council wants to discuss or either have a motion. Ms. Gorman?
I have a question. So if this begins on August 1st, which we've already in, they'll get their first bill at the end of this month with the adjustment on it. Can you give us some PR information to get out to everybody so they know it's coming?
Absolutely.
Put on the face so we can get it out there. I don't want them to be surprised and the phones start blowing up.
Yeah, absolutely.
As if they did not know. So we want to give them a little heads up as to what happened. And if you'll fashion it in a way that would be easy for them to understand, the residents to understand how it works.
Okay.
I'd appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we will entertain a motion for approval of resolution 2022-50.
I know we discussed this the last time. I move that we approve resolution 2022-50.
A second.
Have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion from anyone? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries. Please show that Mr. Bullock voted no.
Thank you for the support.
Thank you. Okay, items D, resolution 2022-52, a resolution of the City of Williston, Florida, updating compliance with Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, adopting a handicap accessibility self-evaluation plan, adopting a transition plan for handicap accessibility, and adopting a Section 504 grievance procedure. Ms. Jones.
Thank you. Good evening, council. This is something that we need to do when we're going to be funded either wholly or in part with federal assistance. So this is really just something we do when we're gearing up to do some grants, or we've been getting some grants. Fred Fox does it for us. They came in and they did an assessment and they looked at our facility to see if we were handicap accessible and if we were meeting the requirements, and they put the plan together for us. So we just need you guys to approve the resolution so that we have it in our pocket when we do go after federal grants.
Okay, and we're going to go about correcting all things that they found that need to be updated.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I saw those needs changed out there. It's a wonderful thing, actually.
Yeah.
And there was an attorney down south he does with handicap law, and he had a group of people that would go around the businesses and measure and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden that business would get a lawsuit for $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, and they had to go in and fix it. So, I'm glad that we're looking at what we got, because
Right, me too. And we have had some, I won't say we've had issues, but we've had people call some of these things to our attention before. So I think it's wonderful that we're going to put them on a work plan and see if we can get them done. Okay, any other questions for Ms. Jones? Any comments to Ms. Jones? Okay, I would entertain a motion for approval. This is resolution 2022-52.
I make a motion that we approve resolution 2022-52.
I second.
Okay, sir. I have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. At
Thank you,
this time, we're going to open a public hearing for the first reading of ordinance 2022-700, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, amending the city charter to change the dates of the city election and to change terms of office necessitated by such change in the election dates, amending sections 2.02, 4.02, and 4.03 in the city charter and providing an effective date. Mr. Walker.
Madam President, pursuant, do I have my mic on?
Is it lit up so that can you,
I think
if you
I
can
turned
see
it
the
off.
digital? Yes.
It's a change since I've been here.
It is.
Much improved.
Yes.
Pursuant to section 166.031 and 166 of 021 of the Florida statutes, you are allowed to change the date of the election without an actual referendum. So this Exhibit A does that, and it syncs it up with other local governments in this area. And instead of the first Tuesday in March, it'll be the first Tuesday in April, in even number years. And the current mayor and council members continue to hold their office and serve until the installation of the new mayor, council members in May. So you take your office in May, but the election will be on the first Tuesday in April.
Okay. Everybody understand? I know we talked with Ms. Jones about this before, and I think we agreed to do it. This is affecting that change. Okay, so I will ask first for a motion and then we can discuss.
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 2022-700.
Okay, on first reading.
Second.
Okay, and now at this time, it is a public hearing, and I will ask the public if they have any comment or questions at this time. I think everybody knows the reasoning and trying to get the machines that we need so that we're not running into presidential primaries and that sort of thing. Okay, if there are no questions, we will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will close the public hearing. And at this time, we will, and this says mileage rate, but it's really millage rate. So we are considering our millage rate. Don't know that we have anything in our packet that shows it. We had it in our budget. But this is the time that we have to set the millage rate for the, all right, what's it called? And they send it out to everybody.
Trim notice?
Trim notice, thank you very much. That word would not come. Yeah, we might need to go get it. It'll be in the budget. Do y'all mind if should we take a 10-minute break until we can find it? No, just keep talking. Okay. All right, so I'll ask at this time if there's any public participation that anybody else has at this time. We'll go back to that when they go get the numbers for us. Second opportunity for public participation for something that is not on our agenda tonight. Oh, okay. Yeah, here we do need to kill some time. I don't know. All right, so we will then.
I'll talk.
Okay, talk. Oh, Laura.
Good, talk.
Don't forget, this Friday at 7 p.m. is Music in the Park, brought to you by the Chamber of Commerce and the CRA. Patricia, do you remember who is playing?
And what kind of music? I was asked that.
Gentleman, his name is Cam Wheaton, and he does a little of everything. Cam Wheaton, and he does a little of every
Variety.
of music.
It's 7 to 9, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Do we know if we have a food truck?
Yes, we do.
Oh, good.
Who's
You
it?
promise?
What is it, Laura? Is it Fat G's, or is that the name?
Yes.
The barbecue guy that's normally down in front of Bill Tower?
That's Fat G.
Fat G.
Yes.
Okay, so Fat G's. All right. I need to, if somebody will put that on Facebook, we'll all share it. I know you have, but if you go get it again, we can all share it. And y'all show up. Bring somebody with you. It's a lot of fun. If you got something else to do, just drop in. drop out. It's a lot of fun. Don't have to stay the whole 2 hours. Okay, we'll do announcements. We'll start with staff. How about that? Captain Fortney, you have anything from the police department? Ms. Willis, you have anything?
Tonight of all nights, they don't.
Chief Stegall?
Chief Stegall, he always has things on.
No? I'm calling you by name now. I'm going down the line. Mr. Mills, Ms. Jones, anything else? Mr. Bishop, do you have anything? I see a microphone.
No, ma'am.
Mr. Miller. That's really funny. Have anything in the back? All right, so we're going to go back then to council members. Mr. Ross, do you have anything to add tonight?
No, I do not.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bullock?
I do not.
Ms. Robinson, Mr. Cox, Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Ah,
I wanna give
yes. I
an
finally
attaboy.
asked you, didn't I?
I want to give an attaboy to Jonathan and his staff. Last Monday, went across 7th, noticed water coming up out of the
Oh, boy.
asphalt at a driveway, and took pictures, sent it to Jonathan. He goes, okay, we'll check it out and see what's what.
It's under the property tax section.
So then, called him later that afternoon. The employees had already called 811 to do their dig. The employees had a plan.
Wow.
And that's great to see that, they've stepped up to do it. Christy did the call-in and did the locate. And then Alex and Isaiah were the ones that took care of it.
Actually took care of it. That's wonderful. And I want to thank you for taking care of the tree. I don't know if y'all know, there was a tree in the median that was at the corner of 7th Street and 2nd Avenue. No, did I say it wrong? 7th Street. I know it was cut up by one of our local police officers, but I know they picked it up yesterday, the day before. We appreciate you clearing that. Is it not under the property tax? It's under the property tax tab. In the book. Ring binder, property tax tab.
Binder.
Ms. Gorman, under the property tax tab.
In the binder.
Oh, here it is. And you had it.
Don't hear the phone ringing?
It's down 6.75.
Yes, it is now
Right.
6.75.
That's what it was.
Exactly.
That's where we wanted to keep it.
Okay, so just,
But we did the high side.
we did, but we don't have to.
Right.
Tonight is the night. That was a workshop. We were just discussing it. We discussed, moving it to 7, just for the trim notice. And we talked about how much extra that would generate. That's not in here, by the way. But we know that in our brain that we only want it to be 6.75.
Correct.
Not me, I
Did
promise.
that does not sound good.
Yeah, that wasn't good. Okay, the roll, the prior year millage, the other 6.75, it says will generate an extra $96,774. Not extra, that's what it will generate, $96,774. So, all right, do you want to set it for 7, knowing you could go down, or are you going to set it for 6.75?
No, I make a motion that we keep it at 6.75.
Okay,
I'll second.
have a motion and second. I think we're all in agreement with that. Is there any discussion from anyone?
What was the rollback rate, just so make sure that that's in the record?
In the record. Jackie, read the rollback rate. I think it's 6 point.
The rollback
29.
village was 5.9788. Right?
Yep. That's an awful lot.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that one more time for me,
It
please?
says that the rollback millage rate would be 5.9788. It actually would be a decrease in revenue, so I don't know how that can be the rollback rate, but that's what it says on this paper. The 6.75 is what we have at the moment. and it is the option one, the current year's village, which is an increase of $96,774. Okay, I have a motion. Is that sufficient? The rollback rate, 5.9788 would have been the rollback rate. All right, so I know we have to notify them by the 4th. So we need to make sure we get this to the county ASAP. I'm assuming Stephen's not there. He certainly won't be there tomorrow. So we need to maybe contact their office and see who can help us with that. Because it's due on the 4th of August. I do remember him saying that. Okay, so any other discussion from the public? All in favor of the motion, Ms. Latricia?
I'm sorry, did anyone second?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah. What you got? Yeah, that looks right to me.
That looks right.
This one looks right, yep.
I think you have an old, I have an old one.
Yeah, the other one at the 5.9 or 5.8, that's not right. This one right here says comparison of millage rate options. It says that the rollback rate is 6.3526, and that I believe to be correct, because even that shows a $31,000 increase. Okay. All right, much better. All right, so again, any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Like I said, it's due the 4th, so we need to notify them as soon as possible. All right, I think we're down to counselor updates, and we were as far as Mr. Cox. I don't have anything because you talked about my music in the park, so that's really all I had on my list. Ms. Gorman, you have anything else to add? Ms. Nelson, anything else? Mr. Walker? Ms. Latricia? I will add that Latricia and I are going to the Florida League of Cities meeting next Thursday, and we will be there. It's essentially a weekend. So,
Where is that at?
it's in Hollywood, Florida. Way too far for me to be driving. Somebody talked me into it. Okay. At this time, if there's nothing else for this agenda, Mr. Cox.
One thing. Good job on the microphones.
Oh, yeah.
Trying.
They're much better. I love the hands-free and the...
Trying.
Let's all do it. Mine won't work. All right, so...
Just turn it on and leave it on. It's best.
Did we get a motion for adjournment?
I move that we adjourn.
I have a motion. Do I have a second for adjournment? Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Let's go home. Thank you.